heart of your teams, the heart of Michigan. Bally Sports Detroit, the heart of the fan.
To many Michiganders, Traverse City is a resort town on the shores of Lake Michigan. But for the 150,000 residents, it's home. A beautiful place to raise a family with two of the best high schools in the state. Tonight, TC Central and TC West square off here at Thirlby Field with 10,000 of their closest friends. Oh, we are in for a dandy here tonight. Welcome to Football Fridays. I'm Johnny Kane. This is my partner, Greg Monroe. Brooke Fletcher will be along here shortly. Rivalry week here in the Pinky of the Men. What do you think of Traverse City so far?
Johnny, it's beautiful up here. And this atmosphere, this reminds me of Texas Friday Night Lights. Both schools have been letting their voices be heard. They have been loud. They have been obnoxious. But it's all for their players. And so the players on the field have to feel that excitement, this emotion going into this big game, a rivalry game.
Oh, I'm telling you what, this is going to be a fabulous setting here tonight. And we know this particular rivalry has taken on an even greater significance over the last decade. For more on that, we bring in the third member of our team, Brooke Fletcher. Brooke, what do you have?
Yeah, guys, the TC Patriot Game is unlike any other. It was started by former Traverse City West head coach Tom Moore back in 2012. A former player of hers, Justin Hansen, was a sergeant in the Marine Corps in Afghanistan, and he unfortunately died in the line of duty. So Coach wanted to honor him and others that served. So that's how this game was born. But he said, listen, we give away to a lot of charities, but why not give to a charity that, gives back to veterans? So that's what these two schools do. Each year, these schools come together and they pick a local charity that gives back to veterans. And throughout the entire week leading up to the game, they have different events. They sell T-shirts to help raise money to give back to the charity that they chose. But listen, they are doing this for veterans, but there's also bragging rights on the line. This is a rivalry game. We have to remember that. And they're also competing for this trophy. This is the Nowak-Olson Memorial Trophy given by the Nowak and Olson family after the losses of their two sons that attended Traverse City West and Traverse City Central. Now, this trophy honors them and gets to go home with the winning team each and every year. But they will also have honorary captains, one representing the Nowak family and one representing the Olson family. Now, listen, this is only a small glimpse into the many things that goes into this game. I've never seen a high school football game like this, you guys. It's pretty crazy and just incredible to see not only how much this game means to the players, but also to the community as well.
Very good, Brooke. I mean, what a privilege for us. What an honor it is to be able to help broadcast this game. And there's one player in particular. He's the number 2 ranked player in the state. He wears number 8. He plays for TC Central. His name is Josh Burnham.
You're talking about JB8, one of the most explosive players in the state of Michigan. Crimson Tide, Alabama, Crimson Tide. How about Michigan State? Go green, go white. How about Michigan, go blue? But this young man is going to be playing on Saturdays at the Fighting Irish. He's going to go to Notre Dame. So look for this young man to have his impact on this game tonight. He's that kind of player, Johnny Kane.
Yeah, fabulous as the lead signal caller. Also on the defensive side, he runs side to side. So we'll be looking for number 8 for TC Central. As for TC West, it's the team that wants to ground you and pound you into submission. What's the plan of attack here tonight?
Well, that's exactly what they want to do. Getting a chance to talk with their coach, their head coach, Greg Vaughn. Here's exactly what he said, Johnny. They have to move the chains. They have to get first downs to keep the ball out of JB8's hand. Look for them, though, on the defensive side to be a little different. They've known for being more of aggressive, a blitz team. Today, they don't want to give up the big explosive plays. They're going to play a little zone in this first quarter and then dial it up in the second half.
Yeah, maybe feel each other out a little bit. We know last year, obviously, it was TC Central. They got the upper hand, but this is a new year and new players. And I'll tell you what, winning against your crosstown rivals allows you to carry a little extra pride back to your side of town. We're going to bring it to you next on Bally Sports, your home for high school football. The color palette of the Traverse City area is awe-inspiring. From the red of the tart cherry capital of the world to the green of the grapes that grow on the picturesque peninsulas, extending into the crystal clear blue of Lake Michigan. In the fall, as the colors begin to turn, nature's beauty is on full display.
Good day today. Have a good session on D. Pay attention to your D coaches. Okay, let's go. Win on three. 1, 2, 3. Win!
But as the days get shorter, a line is drawn. The black and gold of the Central Trojans is steeped in history, a championship pedigree dating back to the mid-19th century. To the west, the green and gold of the Titans, just 23 years young, but brimming with pride. For 1 week each year, when the town could be most divided, they come together to teach the next generation about service and sacrifice. When West and Central clash, the only colors that matter are red, white, and blue. This is the 10th Annual Patriot Game, and it's in the Football Friday Spotlight on Bally Sports.
It doesn't get much better than this, folks. I'm telling you what a fabulous backdrop here in Traverse City. And I'm telling you right now, it is a picture-perfect night for high school football. Let's get downstairs and join Brooke Fletcher. Brooke?
Yeah, Johnny, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of special things about this game. And one of those things is the opening ceremony, where they go through a long list of things to honor those that serve. It started off with players from both teams coming out to the center of the field with a big American flag. We also had several veterans and people who served from the state of Michigan. They went through and honored each one of those. This crowd, you guys, it's insane. There's signs that are made. There's a sea of blue, a sea of red. It's pretty incredible. And then we have players going through and shaking the hands of those who have served as well. Now, Johnny, there was supposed to be a flyover, but the Coast Guard got a call. There was an emergency, and obviously that takes priority. But it's one thing to hear about this tradition, but to actually experience it, it's pretty incredible. It's great to see what they're doing for those that serve, Johnny.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, it really is. It's bigger than a game. We hear that a lot in sports. You know, it's more than just football. But here in Traverse City, this particular rivalry, the TC Patriot game, is exactly that, Craig.
It truly is. And you start thinking about Eric Sugars and what this community means to him, and the message that he sends to his players, Johnny Kane. Not only, it's not just about football. It's about this community, and he's done an excellent job of raising young men, I mean, with a lot of character on that side of the football.
And how about on the other side? Coach Greg Vaughn, back in his day, an all-state kicker. Loves coaching up those special teams. We'll keep our eyes peeled for that tonight, but doing a fabulous job here now in his 4th season at Traverse City West. And a pretty doggone good record there to boot. And it'll be West, clad in the forest green and Vegas gold, who will be doing the kicking off here tonight. The Trojans will be wearing the black, gold, and white uniforms, and we are underway here in the TC Patriot game. And we're going to have a touchback to get things started. Well, what more can you say? We've gone to some pretty good games here over the first couple of weeks of this season, and tonight certainly adds to that with what's turned out to be fabulous rivalry over the last couple of years. And as Brooke alluded to in the open about, how many layers that go into this, and honoring those that have given us an opportunity to be here on a Friday night to watch high school football. There's the talented quarterback for Traverse City Central. He's number 8. He is a young man named Josh Burnham.
Well, Burnham is definitely a dual threat, Johnny. Last year threw for over 1,100 yards. 16 TDs, but what was special, he's only threw 2 interceptions, but he also can run the football, 833 yards. So look for him to do a little bit of both tonight.
Yeah, we see this a lot, real good high school quarterback, but he's going to be going to play on the defensive side of the football next season. As you talked about, he'll be going to play for Brian Kelly at the University of Notre Dame. There's Burnham with the handoff this time. Reed Seabase, modest gain on the play, might have even lost a yard. So nice job by the West defense to be able to get up there and stiffen up in the run game. So Reed Seabase is going to bring up 3rd and about 8 yards on the play.
Yeah, that's exactly what West wants to do, though, Johnny. They want to apply pressure to JB8.
Burnham back to pass from shotgun. Plenty of time to throw. Now moving to his right. Here comes that pressure. Burnham swallowed up. Look who got there, Michael Skirmerhorn. The linebacker, 6 foot, 210-pounder comes in and swallows up Josh Barnum, and that's going to bring up 4th and 11.
Well, coming out, I talked to Greg Vaughn, their head football coach, and he talked about playing a little zone maybe early in this game just to get a feel to keep the Central team from having these big plays, these explosive plays. And that's exactly what we saw right there, Johnny King.
And the first time out of the ball game is going to go to TC West. So how about that? West coming out here ready to play, forcing a 3 and out early on. They're going to take a timeout. We'll take it with you. You're watching high school football here on Bally Sports. Well, one thing we know about this Traverse City West team is they're going to get at you on special teams, Steve-O.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Johnny. Greg Vaughn made it very clear. They don't call it punt return. They call it punt block because they're bringing the house and they're trying to get better field position. And one of the ways they're going to do it is being aggressive, trying to get to the kicker.
So it looks like on their side of the 20, it is Barnum, and he is able to get it away. Kicks it directly up into the air, not very far, and it checks up actually at the 20-yard line. I don't know if that ball traveled more than 4 yards.
I don't think it did at all, Johnny King.
He was able to get it away. Well, it's going to be great starting field position for TC West, but it looked like when Barnum dropped back to kick it, might have just got it off the tip of the toe and drove it straight into like a pop fly to center field. You know about that.
That's exactly what it looked like.
So let's see what TC West is able to do. Titans take the field for the first time, and there's the senior quarterback, Brandon Konchik. Hands the football off. Nice chunky yardage right off the rip. And it's Michael Skirmerhorn, the man who had a sack already, and he gets the first carry of the ball game for the Titans. That'll bring up 2nd and 5. And Brandon Konchik, how about that? 6'4", 210 pounds. That's exactly what you like to see at the next level. And this time, modest gain on the play, maybe picked up a yard. It was Skirmerhorn one more time. Look at the starting lineup here for the Titans of TC West. They got a good one up front. And Danny Rosa goes 6'5", 350 pounds at the left tackle spot. And again, some really good skill position players, a lot of speed. And they've got 3rd and 4, moving out of the pocket. Rolling to his right, has his target. Is he in? Yes, he is. First down, West. Catch made by Will Gaston from the slot receiver position.
Yeah, you're going to continue to hear this kid's name all night long. It's his go-to target. He's a playmaker on the offensive side. Great job there of getting the feet in, but also give their quarterback, Brandon Konchik, a lot of credit here. He gets outside the pocket and throws a dime down the sideline.
Konchik hands it off. Skirmerhorn up the middle. Not much room. That Central defense pretty stout there on the inside. They have good size up in there. They got a bunch of seniors up there.
Yeah, 4 of the 5.
Yeah, plugging it up.
Are seniors, Johnny King.
There you go, Michael Boer, fabulous nose tackle. Josh Burnham, we talked about him, linebacker in the 2nd level, and then back in the secondary, Carson Bordeaux. We expect to call his name quite a bit here tonight, as it is. 2nd and goal inside the 10-yard line. They're going to pitch it. Will Gaston, nowhere to go. And a nice job stepping up for TC Central was number 16, Michael Boer, the aforementioned nose tackle, getting up there to make the stop.
Well, this defensive line job is to free up Josh Burnham. He's the most impactful player on that defensive side. He leads his team, Johnny, in tackles with 17 and a half.
Yeah, how about Boer? A lot of people look at that and say 5'9", 165 nose. That's why, folks. Konchik with time and just over the outstretched fingertips of his intended target. He was looking for Aiden Lewandowski. So that's going to bring up 4th down. So it looked like it might have had an opportunity, just unable to put it on his hands. And we'll see now if they're going to come on and try to go for 3. It's one of those games we know historically has been, one possession game. Now, last couple years, TC Central had some really good football teams, and they've gotten the better of this rivalry. But, sometimes you look at it and say, we're not going to win this game kicking a lot of field goals. But tonight, it's early. They had favorable field position. Might take the 3 right here if you can get it.
Well, I think for West, though, going into this game, the quarterback is going to be the biggest difference maker. This kid grew in the offseason, Johnny Kane. He worked hard on being able to run the football. We know he can throw it, but now he's made the adjustment to where he can run it. So they are going to take the 3.
Skirmerhorn, the lefty, up and no good.
Oh.
Pushed it wide left. Looked like it was right at the left upright, and from our vantage point, looked like he might have curled it inside, but the officials right underneath it, and they say no good. So chip shot field goal, no good. We are scoreless here. A little more than 4 minutes elapsed here in the opening quarter.
Central
One more
gets
look
a
at
break here, Johnny Kane.
And you wonder if Skirmerhorn might have seen that edge rush coming from Carson Bordeaux. And there, now better look at it. You can tell that was definitely wide left. Handoff, Bordeaux. Bordeaux around the left side. And a nice job making the tackle out on the edge. But maybe, no, I think he just got back to the line of scrimmage. I was going to say maybe a gain of 1. I don't think he even had 1 yard on that one. So
yeah,
nice job on defense.
TC West is flying to the football, not allowing the Central team to get outside, pushing them back inside where they've got some help. Good job by the outside.
Yeah, you saw Remy Schultz right there making the play out on the outside. He's got a lot of speed. Matthew Zutendam got a ton of speed as well. This time, guess who? Burnham! Burnham up to the 40. Breaking would-be tacklers. He's up near midfield. Got that big play capability. There it is.
Well, that's one of the things West wanted to do, is stop the big plays. But look at the block right there up front by number 71, Caden Warner, opening up the hole and allowing the big fella, number 8, to do work.
Burnham now. I think we're going to have a false start. They're going to blow that play dead. Looked like Carson Bordeaux may have moved quickly.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 11, 5-yard penalty.
And it is.
Still first down.
So that'll back him up 5 yards. Move the football back to the 42-yard line. But the biggest run play of the game goes to Josh Burnham. He is a load. 4 receiver set now. They do bring motion. They give it to Dante Williams. Williams with a little bit of room. Williams with the spin move. Finally brought down by number 73. That's Dan Rosa, the senior, brought him down. But Williams catching a little piece on the edge. He's got speed.
Well, he's definitely their most explosive player on the offensive side, besides Josh Bonham there, but the quarterback. So look for him to get a lot of touches in tonight's game.
Barnum looks to the sideline. They get the play in. Again, they're going to spread it out. 4 receivers. They bring motion. He fakes it to Bordeaux. And how about that? Barnum absolutely swallowed by number 73, Dan Rosa. One more time. I told you Rosa a little bit earlier. He goes 6'5", 350. He barreled.
Yeah, he did. Taking on the block. Standing his ground, Johnny Kane. And Burnham, there's nowhere for him to run.
He stood him straight up and got a little bit of help. Number 50 came in to clean it up. Ben Shillette. That's going to bring up 3rd and 4.
You said it, 6'5", 350 in the middle there.
Handoff up the middle, trying to drive his feet. Reed Seabase picks up a couple. That's going to bring up 4th down. We'll call it 4th and 3. What do you do here?
Well, you got to put the ball in your playmaker's hand. That would be number 25, Dante Williams. You see him there in the slot. Number 11, Carson Bordeaux is another guy that's explosive.
And they gave it to Bordeaux on the jet sweep, and he gets past the sticks by 2 yards. That's going to move him. A nice job moving with pretty good tempo early on, the Trojans of TC Central. New set of downs.
They're also showing a lot of discipline in the front. At that front line, they know exactly what plays to call. They're actually calling them themselves. Whatever the defense gives them, they know how to make the right call to open up those holes in their blocking assignment.
Burnham looking for Bordeaux. Bordeaux. Touchdown, Central.
Talking about this young man being a playmaker. Bordeaux, the slot receiver, runs a great route here. Looks more like a little post route. And Burnham hits him right over the top for a touchdown.
Plenty of time to watch that play develop. Had single coverage. He put it right in the basket. Bordeaux ran underneath it. First touchdown of the ball game. Chance to make it 7-0. And Everest Noyes does just that. 7-0 Central. It was so pretty. We'll look at it another time, Simo.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yes!
Trojans with the early lead. Burnham, Bordeaux, first timers.
Welcome back. We talk about how crazy they're at this game, but the Traverse City West section is what gets a lot of attention. They call themselves the Bleacher Creatures, but there's a aspect of the Bleacher Creatures called the Bucket Brigade, and I'm here with a Bucket Brigader, Zach. All right, Zach, I know you have to try out to be in this group. What goes in to the perfect Bucket Brigader?
You got to get hyped. You got to love the sport of football, and you got to have school spirit. That's all it takes, and you can be great at this.
Well, it looks like I fit in because I got the suit, but what's going on with the suit here? What's with the fit?
Up here, we have to be the craziest dress, and this has been a tradition forever. I'm keeping it alive.
Okay, I'm going to get in on the action here, all right? Can you hold the bucket for me? All right, let's see how I do, guys. Do I just...
Let's hear it for Brooke!
Let's go!
Oh, yeah. Let's do it for Brooke. Oh, that's it, man.
They got to get them hyped, you guys. They got to get some points on the board. If you need me, I'll just be here hanging out with the brigade.
That kid on our payroll. Oh, man. Gotta get hyped.
You gotta get hyped.
No, man, we got here a couple hours before the ball game, and those guys have been chirping for the last couple hours. I don't know what time school got out, but they put the paint on and came right here to the field. BC West going to get pretty decent starting field position up to the 18-yard line. Look at the brigade.
The brigade, they're getting after it, huh?
Loving every part of it.
Dude, they've been getting after it for a long time. I think I got it about 4 o'clock, and they were already loud, going crazy.
Well, Fletch, she was working on that story for a little bit. I put some cotton in her ears because those guys are making a lot of noise. And obviously across the way, they're doing the same. We'll continue to showcase it throughout the night. Skirmerhorn. Not much room, maybe picked up a yard. But yeah, this is what it's all about. We talk about, I know you played high school football back in Texas. We talk about the Friday night lights out there. It's a total different environment, high school football in Texas. But I'll tell you right now, they got good high school football in the state of Michigan. These folks up north, they play a pretty good brand.
They really do, Johnny. And this is exciting to see the fans and seeing the communities come together for this great event. It's special.
Konchik, shotgun on 2nd and 8. Hands it off. Not much room to roam. Nice job by that Central defense. So defense picking up where the offense left off, trying to get a little bit of momentum on the visit side. Coach Vaughn looking on. Yeah, we talked about how he likes to coach up that special teams. They like to fake it a little bit. They like to throw a little razzle-dazzles on point afters. They like to get after you in punt block situations. Hoping to pick up the sticks right here and not be faced with a 4th down and a decision to make. But it is 3rd and 8, approaching 3 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Konchik That's the motion man. He's got trips receivers to the right, looks that way. Has his man, but then immediately, maybe a yard, but that's going to bring up 4th down, and you can see the central sideline pretty excited about what they just witnessed. Will Gaston with the reception on the right side.
Yeah, but Josh Glogg there, he read that play beautifully and blew it up.
All right, so decision time, 4th and 6 ball on your own 22-yard line. You want to be smart about it. Again, remember Kyle McCrum is their punter. Starting left guard. He's got a boot. Kind of a rugby style guy. He can run it if they give it to him, but right now it looks like he's just going to kick this one away. Might roll the dice a little bit later in this football game. And how about a beautiful job by Kyle McCrum to try to flip the field, and does so. I say he's their starting left guard. Got a big leg, literally and figuratively. All right, high school football fans, join us again next week. Football Fridays will continue here on Bally Sports. We're heading toward our state's capital, where it'll be homecoming for the DeWitt Panthers. They take on the Grand Ledge Comets. Kickoff at 7 o'clock from DeWitt Memorial Stadium on your home for high school football, Bally Sports Detroit. Here comes Josh Burnham. Keeps it himself, round the right side, lowers the shoulder, lowers the boom. He's going to pick up the 1st down. A nice job getting in his way. Number 14, Garrett Schuler, but he felt that one. Johnny, as Burnham picks up 11 yards on the carry.
How about the block, though? How about the block by number 11? It's Carson Bordeaux. Still in the corners, allowing Burnham to get outside.
This time it's Bordeaux on the jet sweep. Picks up about 5 yards on the play before he's brought down on number 11, Remy Schultz. 11 on 11.
And Johnny, I starting to watch Burnham behind the center there in the shotgun. There's a lot of deception there.
This time comes underneath. That'll be a short game. That's going to bring up 2nd down. Excuse me, bring up 3rd down. No, mark that 2nd down, my bad. They'll pick up 5 yards on the play.
Doing a lot of read option here is Burnham, so he's going to have to be really paying attention to the ends. That determines if he's going to leave that ball in the belly of the running back, or is he going to keep it himself? He keeps it right here.
This time he keeps it, and he's got a lane. Inside the 20, Burnham shakes the tackle. Burnham, he's in for the score.
I mean, Johnny, this kid is a monster, but he just absolutely read that perfect. Put that ball in the belly, reads the defensive end, he crashes. He's able to pull that ball out and keeps it himself, and off to the races he went.
I'll tell you what, he's so good about making that first tackler miss. And we talked with Coach Vaughn about that earlier in the week. You know, you got to break down. He said last year our tackling was atrocious. When you've got a chance, beat the running back head on, or in this case, the ball carrier, which is Josh Burnham from the quarterback position. We got to be able to wrap up and make that play. Barnum's so good, so tough, runs downhill, and he puts 14 points on the board for TC Central.
Yeah, look at the offensive line picking up their blocks. Look at Burnham, puts it in the belly of Bordeaux, but then he reads it well. Opened up a lane for him, and there he goes, Johnny Kane. Call that 6.
And really at that point, he had already gotten past. You're trying to get to your 3rd level of defense, and they were playing chase. You'll see it here on the back side of it. He already gets through the linebackers there, and now you're just playing chase.
I know, and also number 71, Caden Warner, with a big block there to spring.
And Matt Zutendam, yeah, unable to get the right angle on him. And at that point, he was history. So 14-0 Trojans. Burnham takes a blow on the central sideline. Coach Vaughn, he knew they were going to be in a fight here tonight.
Well, that's one of the things he wanted to avoid, though. He wanted to avoid the big plays. That's why they weren't blitzing as much. They were trying to stay play zone defense, trying to keep Central in front of them. Well, when you have Josh Burnham as your QB, probably the best athlete on the field, one of the most strongest, he's probably the strongest athlete on the field too, because he just seems like he takes a hit
and just keeps on ticking.
It's an expression used a lot, running downhill. Think about it. Watch him run. Exactly what he does every time he holds on to the football. So Central up 2 scores. Inside a minute remaining in the opening quarter. And to kick it away, Everest Noyes. Noyes boots it. That one's going to go out of bounds, Simo. So it'll be good starting field position for the green and gold.
Noyes right there, not happy with himself. Don't want to give the West any kind of momentum, given the fact that they're down now by 2 scores.
Line kick, out of bounds, Traverse City Central. West has decided to take the ball at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Yeah, so I think if you're West right now, again, you go back to the game plan. A heck of a lot of football still to go, as you talked about beforehand. You want to pound it. You want to try to sustain some drives. Let's just pick up some first downs here, move the sticks, get to the end of the first quarter here. Game's still in front of you.
Well, I think that's exactly what they have to do. They don't have to get too excited here. Just continue to trust their game plan, and that's running the football.
Skirmerhorn plows ahead, picks up a couple of yards on first down as the clock continues to run.
And Johnny Kane West, they're going to have to depend on that front line. They're going to have to depend on them to open up some holes and let Squirm get through there and be able to keep those chains moving.
2nd and 8 now. Konchik hands it off. Skirmerhorn lowers his shoulder, fighting for some tough yardage. Gets up near the first down marker. That'll be about 2 yards shy. That'll be the final play of the opening quarter, but going to bring up a 3rd and short. That's certainly a manageable down for these guys, especially with Konchik there running the calls. But I'll tell you, to this point, it's been Josh Burnham.
It's been the Burnham show. JB8 getting it done with his arm, and now getting it done with his legs.
There's a reason why he's the number 2 ranked player here in the great state of Michigan. Trojans up 2 scores. We're back for the second quarter right after this.
It's a packed house here at Thirlby Field. Like I mentioned earlier, both of these schools sold t-shirts all week leading up to the game to help raise money for the charity that they chose. Traverse City Central sold blue t-shirts. Traverse City West sold red. So that is why you see a sea of red and blue in the stands tonight. And guys, let me tell you, they sold a lot of t-shirts this week.
What was this I was hearing earlier in the week about half tea Tuesdays or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Traverse City West, they got Half Tea Tuesdays. You know, little, what is it, Ezekiel Elliott action
showing
going
the
on?
abs. Yeah.
Yeah, all the guys at practice, they participated. Half Tea Tuesdays.
I think that needs to...
Johnny, do you participate in Half Tea Tuesdays?
I was just thinking that too, Brooke. Not so much for me.
Time out.
I need to renew that Planet Fitness membership first.
Yeah, me too. That Lifetime Fit. I got to work on my abs, you know.
All right, so we got a timeout on the field as we discuss
Johnny, but I think you could pull that off, though.
Well, we'll see.
I think you could.
Season is young.
It is.
All right, so we talked a little bit about TC West and Half Tea Tuesdays, but let's take a look at the broader profile of the Titans. We talk about it, relatively younger school with respect to being established in '97. Again, big enrollment. Grand Haven each year is the Coast Guard Cup, ranked among the best high schools in Michigan. According to U.S. News and World Report, you ask any alum, they say absolutely. Both these programs are great, man. Very welcoming too. It's cool to be walking around and we get to come into these different, different cities and different stadiums and the crowds, and very appreciative and welcoming to all of us. So thrilled to be here. Okay, 3rd and 3, ball at the 42, coming out of the timeout. Konchik. Back to pass with time. Got his man. That will move the sticks. Simo looking for his senior. Will Gaston, 6'4", 210, put it right on his mitts.
Well, that's one of the things that Kunchek can do. He gets rid of the football, especially given time. But he also can run it. But you like here, Johnny, that he's able to find his playmaker on the outside, number 19, Will Gaston.
Yeah, they try to move him around, utilize his size. As I mentioned, 6'4" frame. Quarterbacks love to see that. Skirmerhorn, meanwhile, quarterbacks love to see that as well. On first down, when you're running back, able to pick up 9 yards.
Yeah, but that's what, I think when you have a balanced attack, Johnny, when you can throw it, I believe it opens up the running game. And that's exactly what we're seeing here on this series against this very tough Central defense.
Skirmerhorn one more time. Plowing ahead, keeping the feet churning up to the 40-yard line. Skirmerhorn, two-way player, tough nose, great kid. He's their lead back, pure athlete. How about this kid? Plays hockey, runs track. State final, stepped in for the high jumper that couldn't go. Look what he's done this season on the football field. Kind of guy they're grateful to have in the West program. 1st and 10, ball at the 40-yard line. Best sustained drive going so far for West. Flag comes in on the far side after a short pickup on first down. We'll see what it is. Ball carrier was Remy Schultz there. And it looks like it's going to be a false start or illegal procedure.
Illegal procedure. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage on the offense. Number 88 was off the line. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
But they're going to say the wideout, Jacob Morgan, was off the line of scrimmage. So it's going to bring up 1st and 15. They'll move the ball to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, if you're that receiver, though, you got to get help. You got to ask the ref, am I where I need to be? Am I where I need to be? And he'll let you know.
Coach Vaughn looking on. Guy who understands the importance of this rivalry as much as anybody. Vaughn won a state championship in high school. Won coaching as well. Konchik with time. He's looking for it. He's got him. Gaston inside the 10. Gaston down to the 3-yard line. How about that? Brandon Konchik with all sorts of time. Went to his primary receiver, Will Gaston. Gaston nearly got into the end zone.
And Johnny, you're absolutely right. It's all about the front line, giving him time. But how about this here? Look at but I also want you to see the deception here. Look at number 14, jumps up. Kind of confuses the defense of Central. And Gaston able to get behind him.
Yeah, Garrett Schuler almost showing a little decoy, a little eye candy. So here's Konchik. Fakes it to Skirmerhorn. Konchik leaning forward down to the 1-yard line. That'll bring up 2nd and goal.
So that's one of the things that Konchik worked on in the offseason. He wanted to become more physical, be able to run the football. So down here by the goal line, you might see him tuck it in that belly and keep it himself and see if he can't get himself in the end zone.
Here it is. Konchik hands it off. Skirmerhorn plows ahead. He's in. 14-6.
The answer.
Skirmerhorn, the lead back. Then the bell cow here in the first half for TC West. They're an extra point away from making it a 14-7 ball game. But what do we know? They like to run the swinging door, too, here on special teams.
They do love to do that. But how about Konchik putting the ball in the scoring hand, their playmaker's hand? And as you said, he runs downhill, gets in the end zone. 14-6.
So, hey, Skirmerhorn, touchdown was good. Why don't you add the point after to boot? Good snap, good hold. The lefty, no, pushes it left. No good. So it looked like it was a pretty decent snap and hold, but just pooched it left. But they got the heavy lifting done, and that was finding the end zone for the first time here tonight. It's 14-6 here on Bally Sports. Well, the expression used to be as the crow flies is now as the drone flies. We're looking at about 6 miles between these two schools, Traverse City Central and Traverse City West. And they all play right here at historic Thirlby Field, a fabulous setting for high school football, I can tell you that.
I mean, this is a true rivalry for me. You think about where I grew up, I think about Texarkana, Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas. It's about the same amount of distance apart. And so you can really feel the atmosphere, the emotion on the field. These players, this is something they'll never forget. Especially some of these seniors, they want to leave here with their stamp on winning this Patriot game.
How about that football sky right there?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Cotton candy sky here in Traverse City. Look at that. Tough to beat. What football Fridays are all about. Weather's still good, not quite too crisp yet. I know as the Fridays continue to mount, we'll start bundling up a little bit tighter, move into October and November, but nothing like high school football. Nothing.
Central's got two of their best playmakers in way back deep.
Yeah, Colin McCrum. Boots to the way.
Williams.
There's Bordeaux. Bordeaux with the seam. And I was going to say stopped by the kicker, but he's the kicker / left guard. Kyle McCrum went up there and stopped what could have been a touchdown from Bordeaux. Take a look at this.
Well, this is something that Central does, and they do it well. They have a good blocking scheme. They open up the holes, and they allow their playmakers to make plays. And there was Bordeaux making another play. Big yardage.
Nice job by McCrum getting up there on special teams to stop it. Ball carrier. Reed Seabase picks up about 3 yards on first down. Talk about both these being senior-laden teams. Reed Seabase is one of those young men, a standout junior. Look at last year, as a sophomore, played up with the varsity team and they made the playoffs. He said, I want to be the varsity guy. He knew what it was going to take to be that guy coming into his junior campaign. And he's been fabulous for him this season. Bordeaux trying to get to the edge. Bordeaux won't get to the edge. That's because number 6, Traverse City West, came up and made a stop on the edge. That's Matthew Zutendam, the 5'11", 180-pound senior.
Yeah, Zutendam's got great vision. He's a ball hawk. He knows exactly where he needs to be, and he goes out. Johnny Kane blows that play up with a great tackle here, open field tackle.
That's what I said they got to do on the edge. Make sure they're tackling out on the edge. Burnham. Here comes pressure. Burnham able to get rid of it. Seabase throws a stiff arm. Seabase inside the 50. That's going to move the sticks. Put your playmakers in space. Reed Seabase is a playmaker.
He's definitely been a playmaker all season. It's a great job here, though, by Josh Burnham, recognizing the defense is coming. They're pressuring with a little bit of blitz. He just dumps it off to his receiver.
And how about this? Burnham up the middle. Huge chunk yardage on first down. Back-to-back first downs for the Trojans. They come at you with that up-tempo, no huddle, try to wear you down.
Yeah, but they're also showing a balanced attack. Johnny, they're throwing it, and then Burnham's just opening up that middle for him to be able to run through those lanes.
Burnham, this time, inside handoff. Seabase nowhere to go. And I mean nowhere to go. Big number 73, Dan Rosa, in on the stop one more time. Look at Rosa.
Rosa's clogging up the middle.
Holy cow. He's no hummingbird, Simo.
No, 350 pounds of man. And they're starting to get a little physical. This is a rivalry match here. A little pushing, a little shoving.
Play to the whistle. Burnham now. They lose 2 yards on the play. Burnham fakes it to Bordeaux. Keeps it himself. Not much room. Stopped near immediately by Caleb Kuchner-Kavich. They call him Cooch. Cooch comes up from the defensive end spot. Keeps him to a gain of 3. That's going to bring up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, but Danny Rosa, the big nose there, he's in the middle of everything. The nose guard there, he's in the middle of everything. Plugging up that middle, Johnny.
Burnham with time, rolling right, surveying the field, goes over the middle, incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. So how about that TC West defense bristling up at the 30-yard line?
Yeah, had a little pressure, not much pressure though up front, but again, they're safeties. And their cornerbacks doing a heck of a job of keeping their guys in front of them, not allowing them to get behind them. Trying to avoid those big plays. And that's the way West has said they're going to do it. They're going to keep them in front.
Burnham goes with the hard count. He's got 3 receivers up top. Now they're going to talk it over, make sure they got the right play call here. A pretty big play call here in the opening half. Trojans trying to answer the Titans to cut this down to a 1-score game. It's been a good one here in Traverse City. Come on back, won't you? All right, decision time coming out of the timeout. SEMO 4th and 10, ball at the 30-yard line. If you're in there listening to Coach Sugar, what's he saying?
I think Coach Sugar is telling him right now that we're going to do a little trickery here. Maybe throw a little screen. I guess you're pretty much taking advantage of the aggressiveness by the D-line. Allow them to come on in and just dump it off to your playmakers.
West has played pretty good defense on this, aside from a couple chunk plays. And how about this? Pressure up the middle, right in his face. Burnham. Flag comes in for holding. Burnham got to be taken down for a loss. But good night. How about that defense from TC West coming up, plugging it up the middle?
Well, again, they're getting some pressure, Johnny Kane, up front, putting a lot of pressure
during the play
on Josh Burnham.
Holding. Number 72 on the offense. That penalty is declined. Ball goes over on down. 1st and 10.
But the defensive backs are doing an excellent job of playing man-to-man coverage. They're taking away the routes of some of the playmakers. Number 25 of Central, Dante Williams. They're taking away Bordeaux, number 11, who is definitely a playmaker for the Central offense.
I'd say Carson Douglas was the first guy in there just wreaking havoc into the backfield. So now it's West with the football. And West with a little running room, popping around like a pinball. Number 27. That's Alden Camp getting his first carry of the night. Carson Bordeaux in on the stop for Central. We got ourselves a little slugfest here.
Yeah, we do.
West took a couple of pretty heavy punches here early on to start this game, but now they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves, how they've responded. Conchit tucks it himself. Nowhere to go. Swallowed up by the Central defense. One of the big men in on the play.
Number 71 there. Caden Warner getting after it.
Look at Warner. That's going to bring up 3rd and 5. 6 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Warner, pretty good player there for the Trojans. So 3rd and 5, Simo. What do you do here?
Well, they want to control the clock. They want to keep Burnham not off the field because he's on defense, but they want to keep the ball out of his hand. So they're going to have to try to move the changer. How about putting the ball on the outside, finding Gaston, their playmaker, number 19.
Gaston is in motion. He looks that way initially. There is pressure. Conchit keeps it himself. He's got to get creative. Dives to the 40. He got there. He got there. 1st down West.
Well, they spread it out a little bit, right? Opening up the inside lanes for him. And we talked about this earlier, Johnny Kane. This is something that this young man worked on in the offseason. He knew he had to become more physical as a runner. And this is a great example of him doing exactly that, getting the 1st down.
What do they want from the wide receivers? They want to make sure they're blocking out on the edge as well. Conchit hands it off. Schermerhorn squirts free. Up near midfield, almost broke it. Picks up 9 yards, as it were. Inside 5 to play second quarter. Bucket Brigade, a little bit softer on the drum beat.
Well, it just looks like West is making sure that they block number 8. Obviously, the quarterback for Central, it's Josh Burnham. They want to take him out of this game, and the way they're going to do it is they have to put a body on him.
And Skirmerhorn again on 2nd and 1. Second effort may have gotten there. He's going to be right at the sticks. That student section, it's a lot like at a home baseball game. You always want to be quiet when your guy's up there, and then you get a little noisy when you need to. Same here. Your team's got the football moving a little bit. You try to beat that drum a little lighter, and then when TC Central takes over, that's when you start pounding.
Seems like West, though, is starting to find their groove, kind of getting the feel of the game and then what they can do and what they can't do, and they're making adjustments.
All right, 3rd and less than a yard. They want to sustain drives. Big play here at midfield. They do hand it off. Skirmerhorn, plenty of room. Picks up 6 yards. They only needed a half. First down, West. STP, they call it strength, toughness, perseverance. There's a little strength. There's a little toughness. Inside 4 minutes now in the opening half. Skirmerhorn one more time. If it ain't broke, Skirmerhorn gets north and south. Picks up 9 yards. Starting to wear down that Central defense just a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly, Johnny Kane, exactly what Coach Vaughn said they needed to do. They needed to be able to establish the run. They needed to keep the chain moving. And that's exactly what they're doing here. Again, they're starting to find their groove on the offensive side.
They're going to give him a gain of 8 on that play. Again, it'll be Konchik and Skirmerhorn in the backfield. They do bring motion. Pitched out to Skirmerhorn one more time. Gets to the edge, picks up the first down. What do they want? Double-digit drives, 10-play drives, 12-play drives, 14-play drives. They're putting one together right now. Can they pay it off? Plenty of time on the clock. Just eclipsed 3 minutes remaining here in the opening quarter. Coach Sugar looking on, saying we got to get a stop here, boys. Konchik to keep it on the ground. Skirmerhorn that time. Nice job of tackling by the Central defense. Number 85, Parker Schmidt, right in there right away. Greeted him as soon as he hit the line of scrimmage. They'll give him a gain of 1. That'll bring up 2nd and 9.
Johnny, they're starting to run the football a lot, right? This is an opportunity to maybe take a chance on a one-on-one coverage up at top there. Will Gaston.
He's got Gaston if he wants him. Gaston coming over the middle. He underthrew it. Picked off by Bordeaux. Bordeaux with the Oski. Takes it up to the 28-yard line. What a swing.
I think there was miscommunication there because he wanted to go on a fly route. That's more of a go route there, and he gets his man. But again, Gaston, number 19, cuts it off, goes inside, forces their quarterback, Konchik, to throw the ball to the middle of the field. That's a no-no. That's where trouble happens. And it's Carson Bordeaux with the interception there.
No, great job of identifying exactly what happened. Looked like he had him on the outside. If it's a different route, that's 6 points, as it were. Throws it over the middle. That's where the help was, and that's where Bordeaux was camped out. And he gets the INT, so a big swing. Let's see what Central does with it. Seabase up the middle, picks up 8 yards. 2 minutes remaining, opening half.
Seabase running behind that veteran line, that offensive line opening holes.
Seabase this time. Oh, second effort. Might have plowed forward, might have gotten the first down. Initially looked like he was stopped, but he sprung forward. Not all that big. He's got a good lower half.
90 pounds.
That's going to bring up 3rd, less than a yard.
But you're right, Johnny Seabase. He runs strong. Runs well between the tackles.
All right, now you got to look at the clock. 1:17. Burnham keeps it himself. Nice job of brute tackling by the West defense. But they are going to pick up a first down, so let them move the sticks.
Yeah, defensive end there. Remy Schultz didn't move anyway. He wasn't fooled by the fake handoff. He stood his ground there and was able to make a nice play there and not allowing a big play to happen.
Central with just one timeout remaining. We'll keep that in mind. Burnham now over 100 yards on the ground here in the first half. Burnham again. Gives it to Seabase. Seabase met at the 43-yard line. He was stood up by Matthew Zutendam. And now timeout taken by the Central Trojans.
Yeah, how about this sit here? You talk about breaking down and putting your shoulder in somebody's chest. That's exactly what Zutendam does there. And he stops facing his Zutendam.
Heck of a form tackle right there. Man, what a first half. 48.5 seconds remaining here in the opening half. Hey, you want to stick around at the half, you know why? Brooke Fletcher going to give us a closer look at the Patriot game. How the Traverse City community has made it into the tradition it is today. How they come together, not just for football, but to celebrate and give back to the area's heroes. Looking forward to seeing that story, Simo. So many great stories to be told here this week. And so much good football left to be played here tonight. Again, I hope we get another look at that sky, but I'm telling you what, it doesn't get much prettier than northern Michigan.
This is my first time up here, JK. I mean, I'm absolutely loving it. It's beautiful, man.
Get yourself really a little summer home up here.
You know, that sounds good.
Huh?
That sounds great. You know, now that I've moved to Michigan.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Get on up here.
Maybe.
Get a look at that.
As you would say, come on, people.
Come on.
Does it get any better than that?
2nd and 8. Here we go. No timeouts remaining for Central. Let's see what they draw up. Burnham. Back to pass. Plenty of time. Burnham has a target. Popped up in the air. Nearly brought down by his big tight end, Parker Schmidt. Wow.
Yeah, but the free safety, Jake Morgan, the 88, did a good job going up high and batting that ball away.
Well, you say Burnham doesn't get a ton of love for his ability to throw the football. Everybody looks at, what he does on the ground, and for good reason. But this one may be just a hair underthrown and allowed the Titan defense to get up there and knock it away. So big play by the defense. That brings up 3rd and 8 on the Central side of the 50.
Let's don't forget about Dante Williams, the slot receiver down here at the bottom, Johnny. He's a big playmaker.
He's coming this way. He's looking for Williams. Williams trying to get behind the defense. Williams comes back for the ball, but knocked away. Unable to hang on to it.
Oh, but I love the adjustment. Number 25, Dante Williams, doing everything in his power to come back to the football, making the adjustment. Gets a hand on it, JK, but not able to hold it in or pull it in.
And Will Gaston in coverage. Gaston knows a thing or two about catching the football. Lost his footing a little bit. And that might have affected both players. Beautiful turf field, but might have slipped. So now 4th and 8, ball to 43-yard line. Burnham takes 2 steps backwards. He's going to punt it away. And nobody deep for West. They're going to let this thing come to rest. And look at that thing, almost checks over the 1-yard line. As it is, it's going to be a touchback. Woo! I think all things considered, if you're Greg Vaughn and TC West right now, you got to be feeling pretty good.
You really do. You got to be impressed with what you were able to do in this first half. We talked about this the Central's explosive offense, Johnny Kane. We've talked about it, trying to eliminate the big plays. And I believe West has done a pretty good job of just doing that. I mean, those are the only couple plays that's really beaten them in this series, in this first half.
I do like it. We've seen Central try to stretch the field and throw it downfield, make it a vertical game. They've given them a lot to think about. Konchik will take a knee, and that is how the first half will conclude. One of my favorite parts about football is getting in there at halftime, pulling the helmet off, looking up to see what coach and all the assistants say, boys, here's what we didn't do, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to flip this thing around. So both sides obviously will make what they feel are the necessary adjustments. But heck of a rivalry game, man. We knew it coming in. This is not disappointing. Hope everybody at home is enjoying it as well. But Crowd's been electric. The student section, they haven't quieted down for much of anything.
Well, the big playmakers have made plays for Central.
Yep.
West, I just feel like their game plan coming into this contest was to control the clock, try to get some first downs, move the chain. I thought they started to settle down, especially in that second quarter. They look a lot better. They've been a lot more effective and efficient. So hopefully in the second half, they can continue their run and get themselves back in this football game.
And bleacher creatures might want to get themselves a little snack. Get ready for what should be a pretty entertaining second half of football. We're going to send it downstairs here momentarily. Our Brooke Fletcher standing by with Coach Sugars. Fletch, take it away.
Coach, 14 points from your offense. Well, how would you describe what this offense was able to do in the first half?
I thought we did some good things, executed the ball, and we ran the ball well in the first half. We do got to clean some stuff up. I thought we missed some opportunities to really put more points on the board there, and our guys are going to go in there, going to get it corrected, and I think we're going to be better in the second half.
West offense seemed to find their groove a little bit towards the end of the second quarter. Carson Bordeaux came up huge with that interception. What do you need to continue to see from your team in order to take this thing home?
Yeah, they controlled the line of scrimmage there for about 40, 30 yards there in the middle of the field, and so we were on our heels a little bit. We kind of dug in, and it was one of those things as a defense, when you're getting knocked off the ball, you just got to own your gap, and that's what we got to do.
All right, thank you so much, Coach. Johnny, back to you.
Well, one thing Coach Sugars preaches is mindset matters. Says, I want to be around positive people. How about this, positive people? Burnham to Bordeaux. And then this, Skirmerhorn. We got a football game here in Traverse City. Trojans with a 14-6 lead here at the half.
Welcome back. Central leads 14-6 here at the half. Josh Burnham, a name you've heard a lot here tonight. He's not only made his presence known in the state of Michigan, but across the entire country for his skills on the football field. Well, before this matchup, I had a chance to sit down with the young star to learn more about his football journey and why this game means so much to him. We good? Yep. All right, well, let's talk about... There's another play. Josh was looking up. I'm like, what are you looking at?
I knew it was coming.
Spread your wings and fly away. Fly away with me.
Last year, you had a lot of eyes on you as far as recruitment. So why Notre Dame?
I feel like it was just the best fit for me. I mean, the culture and history behind Notre Dame, I mean, it's really something special. I mean, it didn't even seem real, but, I mean, it all worked out. Last year was definitely huge. I mean, it didn't end the way we wanted to. Semifinals against Mona Shore, strong year, strong core together. I mean, we've been playing with each other since middle school. I mean, after last year's loss, we don't want to get that feeling again, so we've definitely put in a lot of work in the off season to make sure that we don't get that same feeling.
You grew up in this town. You went to the Patriot game as a fan, as a little kid. What excites you most about this game?
I mean, the atmosphere is crazy, knowing 10,000 plus fans are there. I mean, you go out during warm-ups and you just look around and you just see the whole stands just packed. But, I mean, it's more than just a game this week. It's definitely, we're there to thank the veterans, people who have fought for this country, and especially the ones that have lost their lives. So, I mean, it's definitely more than a game. The coaches here have definitely helped all of us grow as football players, but even just human beings. I mean, they try and make us like good young men to help our community, and I mean, that's definitely been something that's been super fun, like helping out with these kids camps and everything. All those little kids just see you out there Friday night and they want to be like you. So I mean, it's good to make connections with them and make them feel like family.
How does that make you feel when like little kids are looking up to you and they want to be just like you?
It's nuts. I mean, I myself was the same way. I remember going to these Patriot games when I was younger and seeing some of the older guys that I had good connections with, like picturing myself being in their shoes. So I mean, it's awesome.
We're gonna fly away. Come on and fly.
Now I am joined by another Burnham, Josh Burnham's uncle, Thomas Burnham, who served in the Army for over 20 years.
Over 30 now. 30 now, yeah.
That is incredible. Thank you so much for your service. You're honorary captain here tonight. What was your reaction when they asked you to be honorary captain for this game?
Honored, but just being here with Josh and being able to come home and support him, that was just best day to do it.
You have to be so proud. Just describe your feelings about Josh and all the success that he's had as a player.
Well, his father, he has the height in the family just like him. He's my little brother, so he got the height. My son's very athletic, but Josh is just, can't be more proud. And picking a school, we got Irish roots. He's an Irish baby. Just, I can't describe it. Love it.
He's a great kid. I had a chance to talk with him earlier this weekend. You should be very proud about the son your brother raised. But, you know, as a veteran, and you see all that goes into this game, I mean, what does that mean to you, just to see the appreciation these two schools have for veterans and those who have served?
What Traverse City does here with this every year is just outstanding. To, you know, the first responders, police, firefighters, nurses, it just is honoring and unbelievable. It's proud. He's even got two cousins that are here. They're Navy and Army veterans, and another uncle who's an Air Force veteran. So we just all love to support him since he's supporting us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with me, and thank you again for your service.
Thanks.
All right. It's halftime here at Thirlby Field, and we have much more to come. Stick around.
Halftime here at Thirlby Field. 14-6 Trojans on top of the Titans. We got an exciting slate of games on the calendar for Friday nights throughout the month of September and on into October. How about next week? Grand Ledge at DeWitt. Lowell at East Grand Rapids to kick off October. Caledonia at Rockford. Essexville, Garber, Frankenmuth, Southfield, A&T, River Rouge coming up the week before Halloween. All those games kick off at 7 o'clock on Bally Sports Detroit Plus and also on the Bally Sports app. When we come back, we'll look at the charity that will benefit from this year's TC Patriot Game. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Central leads 14-6 here at half. Yes, this is a rivalry game, but it's more than that. It's about honoring those who have served. And each year, both of these schools come together and pick a charity that serves veterans. And so this year, they picked a charity right here in Traverse City. And so I had a chance to go visit the ranch to learn more about it and why they serve veterans.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain.
This town, obviously with two high schools, there's a lot of, there's an obvious rivalry, but a stage like that allows us to come together with them and honor something bigger than us, which we have chosen to be the veterans, which is exactly what it needs to be.
Every year we choose like a charity to which we donate all the proceeds to, and this year we chose Reigning Liberty Ranch. It's a good second step after serving in the war, and it's a nice home for a lot of these veterans.
Well, Becky, tell me about what your reaction was when you found out that you were the charity that the two schools picked for the Patriot Game.
I'll tell you, it was an immediate thought of the young people that chose us. This community means so much to us, and I am such a believer in the support that we need to give to our young people because they're our future. And I can't tell you how poignant it is to me to have them choosing to come my direction and support us. As a daughter of a World War II veteran, I just wanted to have a place of support, a place where they could come and feel that they were cared for, that they could meet some outstanding animals who might help them to adjust some thinking that might be beneficial in their life going forward, because yesterday is not around anymore and we need to be looking always forward.
Obviously the rivalry still exists because it's not just going to magically go away, but the fact that the community can almost set it aside and focus on something that's much more important, and it's almost eye-opening, I think, especially to high schoolers, because, like, yeah, there's people out there serving the country, but it's not something that you tend to think of every single day. So it is a nice reminder that, like, there's so much more out there, and it's important to realize that at such a young age.
It's the thing that everybody talks about and gets excited for, and we are all excited for Friday because it's really the biggest event of the fall. I was in charge of the sale of all the shirts here at West, and that was really cool, and I know that when I see everybody in their shirts at the game that I'll be a part of that, and then when I'm in the student section cheering everybody on, I'll know that I helped contribute to the game, and that's a great feeling.
Since we couldn't play last year, this year being a senior, I knew that that was the one thing I really wanted to do, is just playing the Patriot game, and I'm glad we're able to get to do it with no restrictions. The magnitude of the game is just insane.
I mean, you can just look at the stands and sit there at the Patriot game, and holy moly, it's crazy. You got 10,000 people up there cheering your name, and we all know that it's bigger than just football. There's stuff actually going on outside of just Traverse City Central, Traverse City West football, and to go play for a bigger cause and represent soldiers and stuff, it's huge. It's huge for both of us, both schools.
You know, we all know our own work because we do it every day. They don't, but they saw something in this program that they, in a heartfelt way, wanted to support, and that means the world to us. The model was, let's be a community place. We're not available enough in our society right now to each other because we're all so crazy busy and so many things are happening out there. You understand it, but for me, it makes me realize that when I have had my low point, somebody's been available to me. So I have a real sense of I need to be available when somebody needs something. And that's the mission of our ranch, to serve our veterans and their families primarily, but other at-risk youth and anybody in our community, because we are a community place.
Well, you might recognize these faces, but I don't know. They look a little different than they look in the feature. I'm here with Malia and Zach, and they're both on the sentence at Traverse City West and Traverse City Central. Guys, what an incredible atmosphere, but it has been a crazy week for you guys. You have been busy. I talked to you guys earlier this week. Malia, you guys had a pep rally on Friday where Becky from the Reigning Liberty Ranch, she was there to speak to you guys. Describe what the pep rally was like.
The pep rally was awesome. We got students super excited about the game, really explained what the purpose of this game is for, and really centered all of us just to have a great night. And then she came out, told us what she was all about, so that students know where their money's going to for the shirts that they bought, and all in all, it was just great.
Well, let me tell you, you guys sold a lot of shirts, or at least it looks like it from the stands. Zach, how much money did you guys raise?
So collectively, we both sold out all 1,000 shirts, so I believe that adds up to $20,000 in just shirts.
That's incredible. Well, fans were not allowed in the stands last year, so how much fun is it to have fans back in the stands this year for this game?
It's amazing. This has been something I've looked forward to since my freshman year of high school. This is what I've always known I wanted to do, and to be here today is a surreal experience, and especially since it's going towards a great cause.
Well, you guys are working together this week, but you are rivals here, okay? You're enemies. We still have a whole nother half. So, Malia, do you have any smack talking you'd like to give to Zach here?
We'll see what happens, but both teams are doing great.
Zach, are you tired? The Bucket Brigade has been banging away this first half. How you doing?
I got souped up on some Red Bull before the game, so I'm going to crash very hard after this. But as of right now, I'm firing on all cylinders.
All right, well, I believe in you. Johnny, he's hanging in there. He's hanging in there.
I love this guy.
I do too.
This guy, he's my spirit animal.
He's awesome.
Zach, get the sugar-free, Bob. Get the sugar-free.
So you don't cry.
Ounces.
Don't cry.
Pace yourself, bud. We got the second half coming up next.
Welcome back to Thirlby Field. I'm here with Traverse City West head coach Greg Vaughn. Coach, we're gearing up for the second half here. Traverse City Central, they had a first a strong first quarter, but it seemed like your defense started to get into some rhythm. What did you see from your defense in the first half?
Well, we know with our defense, we're going to continue to get after them, and they're a big play offense. Obviously, with Josh back there, anything can happen. You know, I think our defense took care of some of the pass, made them run. They broke a couple big ones, but ultimately, we know with our defense and our coaches are going to get them into some stops.
Listen, you're down, but it's been a close game. What was your message to your guys before coming out here?
It's very simple. We talked about it all year long. We're a fourth quarter team. We know it's going to be ugly at times. We're going to try to keep pounding it and force them to have to respond. You know, I like how we ended, even though we turned it over there at the end of the first half. We were moving the ball, and with two teams, I have a lot of guys going both ways. We feed off that, and we got to get back to just continue to pound the ball and carve off the clock and not let their offense be out on the field.
All right, thank you so much, Coach.
Thanks, Brooke.
Johnny. All right, much more to come from Thirlby Field. We have second half left here, you guys. Johnny Kane and Craig Monroe when we come back.
(14-6) Trojans with the lead, getting ready to start here the third quarter. You know, last year, the pandemic shortened season, the rivalry did live on, but far different cry from what we see here today. No in the house. Titans and Trojans. Central dominated this game, won it by final of 53-13. They were supposed to play in week 4. It ended up being week 1 when they played, but as Coach Vaughn talked about from West, he said, we feel like going into this year's game, we've actually had a couple games under our belt. We've had live scrimmages. We feel a lot better about our program going into this one. Whenever you face your rival to get things started, it can be tough. And they just felt like maybe they were ill-prepared last year. Everybody was going through that too. But
yeah, it was a tough time.
I was so thankful to be able to see this. You can hear it. I know you guys can hear it at home. We've shown you the pictures. Look at this. This is what it's about. This is what it's all about.
Fans make a difference.
Central boots it away with an 8-point advantage here to open the third, and this is returnable. West with a decent return up to the 20-yard line. That was Cody Oakes, number 10. Looks like it was half T Tuesday with Oakes. Got that jersey pulled up.
Little Ezekiel Elliott.
There you go. There you go. Here comes Brandon Konchek, the senior signal caller, number 5. And again, they had a little bit of momentum going to get that toward the end of the second quarter. Defense stepped up in a big way. Can the offense keep it rolling? Skirmerhorn, not much doing. Maybe picks up a half a yard. In on the stop, number 16, TC Central, Michael Boer.
One of the things that the West team was able to do in that second quarter, Johnny, is that is control the line of scrimmage. They were opening up some holes and allowing their backs to pick up big yardage. Look for them to continue that in the second half.
Second 10 to keep it on the ground. Good second effort from Skirmerhorn, but only picks up a couple of yards. That's going to bring up third and long. But you heard Coach Vaughn talking about it. Again, they want to continue with their game plan. Ground, pound, sustain drives. Easier said than done against this defensive front from Central. But again, you come out of halftime, you want to make the necessary adjustments. Last thing you want to do is go 3 and out and punt the football back to Burnham and company. Konchek, play fake, with time. Konchek throws it away. So that'll bring up a punting opportunity. Again, we talked about it. They do like to show a few wrinkles in the punting game, but with it being a one-score game this early, pinned up back on your side of the 30-yard line, maybe now is not the time to get too creative.
I'm with you, Johnny, on that. I don't think now is the time. I think you want to try to get this punt off and get it as deep as you possibly can and make Central maybe go back as deep as possible, but have a long drive opposed to these short drives. And we've seen that, though. Both teams have made some mistakes on the punting game.
There's Kyle McCrum. Big Kyle boots it. Nice one. Bordeaux back for Central. Catches it in stride past the 50. Bordeaux to the 40. Bordeaux up the far sideline. And how about that? West punts it away from about the 25-yard line, and that's where Bordeaux steps out. So they tried to flip the field, but Bordeaux, look at this.
Yeah, showing great vision here, Johnny Kane, and then he looks stutter step there to get to the outside and picks up huge yardage. Good field position for Central.
Actually going to mark him out at the 29-yard line. 1st and 10 from the 29. Burnham fakes it to Williams, keeps it himself. Burnham picks up 9 yards. On the stop for West. Number 10, Cody Oakes, junior corner.
Burnham's doing a good job of holding that football in there, reading that defensive end, and knowing when to take it himself and keep it.
Burnham, with time, steps up now on 2nd and short, throws the stiff arm, picks up about 4 yards.
But he won't go down. I mean, he's a strong young man.
Carson Douglas went in to try to wrap him up. Got to get low against Burnham.
How about that stiff arm, though? Get off me.
Nice job by Douglas to try to work through it. So he does pick up the first. They're at the 15-yard line. Burnham to Seabase. Seabase inside the 10-yard line down to the 7. If that's Seabase, that's a gain of 7. How about that? Josh Klug comes into the backfield and went in practically untouched for a Central touchdown. Josh Klug getting in on the action. They've been going heavy doses of Burnham, Bordeaux, and Seabase, and this time it was Klug who punches it in.
Johnny, for me, it's the offensive line. It's the offensive line winning the battle, giving the ball to Klug up the middle. Touchdown, Central, 21-6.
Sugars, he was looking forward to honoring the veterans here tonight, including members of his own family who have served. And let me tell you, he has quite the family tree, you guys. If you're a World War II history buff, then you have definitely heard of his grandfather, Joe Byerly, a.k.a. Jumpin' Joe. He served in World War II and was the only American soldier that served with both the United States and the Soviet Union. His uncle, John Byerly, is the United States ambassador to the Russian Federation as well. There they are at the Yankees game. And not to mention his father is one of the most notable high school football coaches in the state of Michigan. Jack Sugars he coached 38 years, coached a long time at Oak Ridge, Ferris State with Coach Anise, and now he's on the sideline, you guys, coaching with his son. He has quite the family tree, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I would say so, bro.
I'm telling you what, when we had our conference call earlier this week, I know we all took pause when we were hearing about Jumpin' Joe Byerly. I mean, I don't know that you can comprehend it, and we're trying to do justice to it, but being a prisoner of war in World War II and fighting for, both the Allied forces, and it's a pretty remarkable journey. And there you saw that was from a couple years back at Yankee Stadium for the.
Yeah, you just have to Google it, though. You have to Google it.
Yeah,
it's an incredible story.
No, it really is.
It really is.
And he's proud of it, as he should be. And right now, Coach Sugar's Trojans have a 21-6 advantage after coming down and scoring on the first offensive possession. Oakes for West gets up past the 20-yard line, about the 22-yard line. So we'll see what the West Titans are able to come up with.
Well, you don't want to change your game plan. You know exactly what you have to do. Coach Greg Vaughn has been preaching it all week long. We have to ground and pound the football. We have to rely on that front line to open up holes and allow these running backs to pick up yardage and keep the chains moving.
They want to shorten the football game right now. Plenty of game left. Skirmerhorn picks up a couple of yards. And how about big number 85 back in there? Look at him getting fired up.
Yeah, Central starting to feel it a little bit.
Parker Schmidt and Conrad Dobrev. There's number 85, Parker Schmidt, defensive end, in on the stop. It's going to bring up 2nd and 8. Konchik hands it off. Skirmerhorn, couple of yards. This time Michael Boer in on the stop. Might give him a yard. It's going to bring up 3rd down again. So again, you want to keep it on the ground. One thing you don't want to do is become predictable. And for the 2nd time in 2 drives, you're facing a 3rd and 8.
And I just feel like in 3rd down here in 3rd and 8, ready, this is when they go to their playmaker on the outside. This is when they've thrown the football to number 19, their slot receiver, Will Gaston. Wouldn't be surprised if you see him run a slant here across the middle.
As Gaston in motion. Konchik looking that way initially. Does have a target. He's got Gaston. Gaston at the 10. He's in there.
How about that play, JK? How about the real play? Got him in motion. Get behind the defense. And Konchik throws a dart right over the top.
We're talking about that quick strike, big play ability. That's just a great job communicating, great job of executing, but a great play call on 3rd and long. And it was Konchik, the senior, hooking up with the senior slot man, Will Gaston, in motion, and they pay it off. Now a swinging gate opportunity. Again, we talked about special teams. They'll give you a different formation. 2nd oldest play in football. Konchik keeps it himself, has a convoy. Konchik in for 2. 21-14.
Physical. This young man worked in the offseason, lifts some weights, got more physical, and he gets to the end zone for 2. We've got ourselves a ball game.
How about that ball? And beat Bordeaux in coverage. Might have peeked into the backfield a little bit. Konchik with a chance to step into the throw and just put it right on the money. And Gaston, there's no catching him. That play went for nearly 70 yards. And West back in this thing in a big way. They got momentum on their side now.
Oh, he led it beautifully, Johnny. Throw it up there and let the receiver go get it. That's exactly what Gaston did.
Somebody go get Zach some more Red Bull.
He fired up.
You know he's fired up down there. What a game.
This has been a good one. We still got a lot of football left.
We got plenty to play.
Yes, sir.
Conrad Dobrev in. Receive number 5. Reed Seabase. There's the big kicker. We've been talking quite a bit about him.
If you're West here, you don't want to take any of these this kickoff for granted. They've got some big playmakers back deep.
Kyle McCrum boots it. It's Bordeaux who gets it. Bordeaux trying to get to the edge. Knocked out of bounds. So Traverse City Central, good starting field position at its own 32-yard line. Josh Burnham and company.
Still in control of the football game. Still got a 7-point lead, so you don't want to get in a hurry here. You just want to execute.
Got 2 receivers at the top of the screen. Burnham, they're going to keep it on the ground. Guess who? Number 2, one more time, Josh Klug. Had a touchdown run last time he had touched the football. There picks up a nice chunk on first down. They're going to give him 8 yards on the carry. Bring up 2nd and 2. Ball up to the 40-yard line. Handoff. Seabase trying to shake free, but guess who was holding on tight? The kicker. Slash guard. Slash defensive tackle, Kyle McCrum.
He can do it all.
Plays all over the field, number 66. Defensive tackle, left guard, kicker.
A lot of great athletes on the field. A lot of these guys being able to play both sides of the football.
Klug with running room. Klug down to the 40-yard line. That was Will Gaston who came up and might have saved a touchdown run. Gaston coming up from a safety spot.
Really good blocks up front there on that defensive line. The center, Davis Hurley, and also Gavin Graysack.
Klug, this time nowhere to go. Grachik and company in on the stop. Give him a couple of yards. Caleb Kuchner-Kavich in on the stop there with the Titans. Burnham with time, now pressure coming. Burnham got to use his legs, trying to get to the edge. Burnham gets to the edge inside the 20-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds.
Coach Sugar talked about how physical he likes his receivers to be. They need to be good blockers, but look at number 6 here, Ben Van Ness, sealing off the outside, but he's smart enough not to get the block in the back there. And then Josh Burnham does the rest.
Brought the pressure from the inside. Burnham able to get to the edge. Van Ness was able to steal it for him. Dante Williams has got a convoy. Williams cuts it back inside the 5. He's down at the 1-yard line. You say he might be the best playmaker.
Yeah, he's quick. He's fast on the outside, and when he gets to the corner, he's able to do exactly what he does here. But look at Seabase in the block there, sealing off the defender of TC West.
Put that one on Seabase's tab, huh? Nearly punched it in for the score. They're going to mark it down at the 2-yard line. Dante Williams, a little speed on the edge. Trojans looking to punch it in one more time. Football Fridays on Bally Sports, brought to you by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Family, not just the name of our company, but it's the way we do business. By your local Toyota dealer, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Figer Law, nobody knows the law like we do. Figer Law. I told you about the T-shirts being sold this year. How about raising $20,000 to charity, the Reigning Liberty Ranch. Love to see it. Great cause. Great show of support, 2 great schools, and great kids. We got a great football game to boot. I don't know how they dressed when you were in high school, Simo, but it wasn't like that in Delta, Ohio.
Wasn't like that either in Texarkana, Texas, Tony.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. Burnham. Hands it off. Up the middle. Touchdown. Josh Klug picks up his 2nd touchdown of the 3rd quarter.
Josh Klug huge in this 3rd quarter for TC Central's offense here. Running between the tackles, getting into the end zone.
I'll tell you, those seniors on the offensive line, Brett Weaver, Davis Hurley, Gavin Grachik, Caden Warner, Keegan Opper, are the backbone of this team. And then Klug, he's a junior, been really consistent presence. Stepped up in the weight room, also the backup quarterback. We might see him calling the plays a year from now, but tonight, been running tough between the tackles, and it's now a 28-14 advantage.
It's been a lot of highlight plays for this Central team. It's been Burnham, it's been Klug, it's been Dante Williams. And how about Carson Go? They're all involved.
Back and forth we go. Central, I mentioned last year with a 53-13 victory in this one. Don't think that has been lost on the West Titans. They got it stacked against them now. Back to a 2-touchdown deficit. The other thing, what we've seen, is they want to keep doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
I know I can sound like a broken record, right? But they want to ground and pound. But when you show the commitment to the run game, as you've seen, they can beat you over the top.
And that's exactly what we've seen in this game so far, Johnny. And that's what West has to continue to do. They have to continue to run the football, make Central very aware of that, and then that's when they can explode with that big play that we've seen on the outside from Willie Gaston.
Aiden Lewandowski and Cody Oakes are the deep men for West. Kick is away, and it'll be Oakes. Gets it at about his own 3-yard line. Looking for blockers. Oakes up to the 20-yard line. Brought down by Nate Madian. They're going to get the football to start at the 21-yard line. We played 6 minutes here in the third quarter. We got 6 to go. Konchik back in after connecting with Will Gaston for the second touchdown of the ball game for West. Let's see what they've got in store here. Skirmerhorn lined up to Konchik's left. Come underneath, looking for Gaston. Had to go low to get it. Reaches forward, maybe picked up a half a yard. Found him in the slot, threw a little screen pass. Nice job of tackling an open space by the Central defense.
Yeah, with the clock ticking here in the third quarter, it looks like West is going to get the ball in their playmakers' hands. Will Gaston has definitely been that thus far. He's been their best player, their best playmaker.
Skirmerhorn. Tough yardage. Skirmerhorn up to the 35-yard line. That'll move the chains. Bucket Brigade digging it. Coach Vaughn digging it. Skirmerhorn, then the bell cow. Tough-nosed runner. Plays both ways. Great conditioned athlete. Konchik, Skirmerhorn. Nice job getting up in the hole. Looked like Parker Schmidt one more time, number 85.
Also, I love the fact that Coach Vaughn is not allowing the game to speed up on him. He's not in a hurry. He's continuing to stick to the game plan. He continues to run the football, running between the tackles.
Got Parker Schmidt's name quite a bit, 6'4", 210. He'll get his pads dirty. Skirmerhorn leaps over a tackler up to the 40-yard line, picks up a couple of yards, going to bring up 3rd and long.
Well, you know who's been their playmaker on 3rd down. It's been number 19, their slot receiver, Will Gaston. Look for them maybe to put him in motion, trying to create one-on-one coverage.
As
at
it is right now.
6'4", and 210. Throw it up and give him a chance to make a play.
He's going to get single coverage. Josh Klug will defend him here in the near slot. Konchik looking this way, goes to Gaston. Gaston turns around right at the sticks. Did he get it? Yes, sir.
I believe he did.
First down, West. The timing route, get to the sticks. Put it right on him. There you go, sustained drive. Another look at it, see.
Yeah, drive your man, drive Klug down the field, turn around, become a big target. That's exactly what 19 Willie Gaston does, and he gets the first down.
Timeout West.
Timeout.
3:32 remaining here in the third quarter. Down 2 scores, but again, sticking with what got him here.
Well, you like that. You like that, again, you like that Greg Vaughn is not allowing these guys to feel like they have to panic because they're down a couple of scores. They have to continue to run the football. And by running the football, it's opened up the passing game for them.
Yeah, they've shown that spread formation a couple of times, and they want to make you cover the entire field. And both these teams do that.
They definitely both do that.
I think what we've seen is for them to change their offense, they used to run it all over, all the time, and able to tailor their offense to kind of the skill set of their senior quarterback, Brandon Conchick, we saw last year. So now you've got more of that pro style. They can show the balance attack. Yeah, it's their bread and butter. They want to just keep coming at you, pound you, but they can beat you over the top as we've seen. All right, this was week 1. Remember the battle at the Big House. They were down 3 scores in this game, was West. What were they able to do? Play a full 4 quarters, able to come back. They scored 35 unanswered points in this game.
So they've been battle tested.
Been battle tested. That's when you put on your resume and say, okay, boys, here's what we're made of. Now they've got to try to erase a 2-touchdown deficit. Ball's at the 46. Gaston in motion. Burnham comes the other way with it. Skirmerhorn had to go high to get it. Good coverage in the flat by number 8, Josh Burnham. Talk about Burnham, again, a two-way player. Notre Dame's getting a heck of a football player. We talked a lot about him on offense tonight. Hasn't been in on a ton of solo tackles here tonight.
But he's been around the football.
He's been around the football, no question.
The West have done a good job of blocking him, keeping him from impacting the game on the defensive side.
Second and 10. Again, Gaston in motion. Conchick with time. Conchick trying to air it out. Just off the fingertips. Oh, he was looking for Braxton Hill. Excuse me. Garrett Schuler. They were looking for Garrett Schuler. Look at 14 in the green.
How about Klug?
Klug
coming over
in,
the strong safety, coming
out
over.
Dante Williams.
Knocking that ball away.
Good downfield coverage. Again, took another shot at it. Not a bad idea to try that on 2nd and long. Now you've got a 3rd and 10 situation, no ball near midfield. Still not quite to the 50. Conchick wide-eyed. And they're going to take another timeout. So West going to burn its 2nd timeout.
Timeout. Traverse City West, their 3rd and final of the half.
It's an important series, certainly, for this team. Everybody says save your timeouts till the end. You got a pretty good drive going. You want to make sure every play is so valuable right here. So they're going to burn a timeout. Make sure they get exactly what they want. The 4th annual Legacy Senior All-Star Games will be hosted this upcoming November 28th. SEMO. That'll be in Brighton. It's at the Legacy Center Sports Complex. The event, once again, will be televised on Bally Sports Detroit. 80 of Michigan's best graduating seniors from across the state will strap their helmets on for the final time and showcase their skills for a statewide audience. Nominations are open. They'll be taken online at legacyfootballorg.com. Click the home page and click the nomination link. Selection will be announced in early November.
Johnny, I've seen some kids tonight that deserves to play in that game.
I'm with you on that. That game is always played the day after state championships down at Ford Field. 3rd and 10. Oh, Conchick, pressure in his face, dumps it off underneath. With room. First down, West. Carson Douglas.
A little trickery there. Central coming with some pressure. Drop the screen on him. He gets the first down.
Michael Boer looked like untouched, but it looks like that might have been designed to let Michael Boer get sucked up into the backfield untouched. That's good execution. Able to find Carson Douglas from where the blitzer came. Now they go back to Skirmerhorn, looking for some tough yardage. Swallowed up by Caden Warner and company. No gain on the play. So coming out of a timeout, you'd love to see that. The execution, hit him with the screen. We hadn't seen a ton of screens here to this point.
Well, I think Coach Greg Vaughn knew that Central was going to be coming. They were going to be blitzing. And so he took advantage of that aggressiveness. And again, great play there by Kunchek, just getting the ball to his playmakers.
Alden Camp now in the backfield. He'll step up in pass protection. Konchik gonna tuck it. Konchik up near the 30-yard line. Nice gain on the play. He'll pick up 8 yards. Bring up 3rd and short. What do you think here? 3rd and short? Take a shot?
Well, I just think because they've had a balanced attack all game long, Johnny, that they have the ability right now to run it up the middle with number 27. That
Alden
would be
Camp,
Aiden Alden Camp, and then also they've got their playmaker on the outside, well, in that slot position, number 19, Willie Gaston. Look for them to get the ball to him.
It's Camp. Camp lowers the shoulder down to the 20-yard line.
Rumble between the tackles.
Aiden Camp, you're right, 5'9", 190-pound senior.
Rely on the line of the guys up front to open up lanes and allow 2-7 to get in between the tackles and pick up the first down.
Aiden Camp giving Skirmerhorn a little blow, coming in and running tough. A little bit of motion there on the offensive line. Looked like it might have been the right tackle.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Going to be on Kyler Brunin. Going to back him up 5 yards. You see all the hats, different branches of the United States military that tonight's officiating crew wearing here tonight in the TC Patriot game. Just another element that makes this game so unique. Approaching a minute to play. 3rd quarter. Gaston on the sweep. Gaston inside the 20-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by a host of Trojan tacklers. There is a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Oh, unfortunate couple of downs there for Kyler Brunin. Had the false start and now get holding out on the edge.
Yeah, you can see right here he's trying to keep still that outside, but number 71, Caden Warner, blowing up that play and grabbed a nice piece of that jersey and just kept tugging at him, Johnny Kane.
Yeah, so instead of the ball inside the 25-yard line, the ball is backed up to the 37-yard line. Garrett Schuler, you see waving his arms up near the 40, up at the top of your screen. Instead they come underneath. Gaston, nowhere to go. Gaston blown up in the backfield. Guess who? Josh Burnham, John K. Williams.
8.
And that should take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. It's going to bring up 2nd and a mile. Clock continuing to run. Great look at Konchik and Vaughn. As the clock winds down, they say, let's take it to the final quarter in this rivalry. Nobody's sitting down. We hope you're not at home either. We got a good one here. We're back for the 4th quarter right after this.
Coach Vaughn has had quite the coaching history, but a time that was really special to him was when he was a grad assistant for Brian Kelly at Grand Valley State. He went on to win the championship that year, and I asked him what it was like coaching for one of the greats, and he said, well, Brian has mellowed out a lot over the years, but he's just a phenomenal coach and person, from his sense of urgency to his knowledge of the game. He kind of laughed and he said, I remember my very first game with him. I didn't have a headset, so I had to write things down. I had to figure it out, and that was just kind of his coaching style under Brian Kelly. Just, you got to figure things out. But he attests a lot of his coaching habits and the way he coaches his kids to everything he learned from Brian Kelly. He said it made him a better coach, you guys.
About that, Gaston underneath, trying to break free, unable to do so. And that might be a loss on the play. Yeah, of course, when he was there, Grand Valley State, remember, won back-to-back national championships, 03-04. Of course, Coach Kelly now on the verge of passing Newt Rockney for the all-time wins at Notre Dame. I'll be going to that Notre Dame-Purdue game tomorrow. Of course, next year, as we talk about Josh Burnham on the other side of the field, he'll be playing for Coach Brian Kelly. So, football is a family.
It is.
3rd down and forever to go. 3rd and 31 to be exact. Big play in this football game. Konchik with time, steps up, looking for running room, airs it out. Knocked away by Dante Williams. Tried to find his receiver, tucked into the corner, Aiden Lewandowski, but it was Dante Williams, number 25 for Traverse City Central, who comes in, and now Craig Monroe down 2 scores on 4th and 31. What do you do?
Well, Johnny, I think here you got to try to play field position. Maybe just try to pin the Central team back down close to their goal line and make them go the length of the field and try to create some better field position for yourself.
Trust the defense one
you
more
have
time.
to trust the defense. They've shown up. They have allowed a couple of big plays.
Again, Kyle McCrum, number 66, back to boot it away. McCrum, nobody back deep for Central, and that ball goes into the end zone. So Central is going to get the football at the 20. So we talked a little bit earlier about Traverse City West did the school profile. How about Traverse City Central? Well, established all the way back in 1853, Craig Monroe. See the enrollment. Obviously, they play in Division II, 3-time state champs. Last one coming in 1988. Notable alums, Dan Marley, Thunder Dan.
3-point shooting, Dan.
Love Dan Marley. That's who inspired my basketball prowess. Not that worked out for me.
What are you saying?
Inspired me anyway.
You're saying you can pull up from behind the arc?
Yeah, I mean, that was my shot.
Oh, okay.
My dad always said, why don't you practice a high percentage shot? I said, Dad, if I keep working on this one, it'll become a high percentage shot. My coach and my dad didn't believe in it.
And I'm not believing in it right now either.
It never did become a high percentage shot. But I did practice. Traverse City Central now with the football. Up 2 scores. They fake it to Dante Williams. No, they give it to Dante Williams on the jet sweep, and Williams picks up a couple of yards. So that'll bring up 3rd and long. So if you're TC West, you say, look, boys, we punted it deep. We get a 3 and out here. We still got plenty of time, but we got to lock in. It's going to be 3rd and make it 3 yards to go.
And if you're Central, you just want to eat up the clock. Use that running game.
Burnham does hand it off. Seabase up to the 40. Seabase.
Johnny, those are those big plays that West is trying to avoid from a defensive side. And it just seems like Central, because of the blocking up front, they have continued to have these big plays. Several by Burnham and also by Seabass right there, getting to the outside edge and picking up a chunk of yards.
Seabase finally driven out by Jacob Morgan. 1st and 10 now. Across midfield. Into West territory. Flag comes in. They're going to blow this one dead.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Well, that'll back the Trojans up to their side of the 50-yard line. Again, just the way their offense is designed, you hit on it. A lot of their playmakers that we called tonight, they get everybody involved. As much as you try to key in on number 8, because you have to, you got to be worried about number 5, number 25, number 11, number 6. This time it's Burnham keeps it himself. Shucks the tackler inside the 40. Burnham trying to get to the edge. Runs over Morgan down to the 5-yard line. My mercy, Josh Burnham.
Johnny, he's just a beast. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. And he's quick. He's got a nice cutback here. And getting himself into some open field. Just keeping his head up, reading the defense, looking for the holes. And then when he finds one, he's off and running.
If it wasn't for Jacob Morgan getting up to trip him up at the end, he would have gone for a touchdown. Burnham going to keep it himself. Burnham lowers his shoulder. Touchdown, Central. Running downhill. It's an art form, and not everybody can pull it off. But Burnham, every time he touches the football, he gets a full head of steam, and this time caps off the scoring drive for the Trojans. They're an extra point away from going up 35-14. Everest Noyes knocks it through. Trojans in command.
Josh Burnham. And that's exactly what he's doing to the West. He's burning them. Rumbling, fumbling. Touchdown.
Oh, I hope Coach Brian Kelly's watching this performance tonight. It's time for a Menard's big money moments, and it is that man. The big play offense from TC Central, Josh Burnham tonight. We talked with Coach Vaughn earlier this week. He said you might contain Burnham in the passing game for a stretch. Next thing you know, he rips off a 40-yard run because nobody can bring him down. And that's when you're in trouble. What did we see on that drive? Ripped off a big one on his own and capped it off with a 5-yard touchdown at the end. Take a look at this.
And again, though, Johnny, 833 yards last year running the football, 13 touchdowns. And you can definitely see why. He's strong. He's physical. He's a tough man to bring down. And Traverse City West has had a tough time tackling this young man tonight.
Modest kid, too.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk with his mom today before the game, and he was talking about, obviously how proud and excited she is for him getting the chance to play on Saturdays at Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. And she said that he's a quiet leader. He's not loud. He's not boisterous. He's just a character guy. He's a good kid. She couldn't be more proud.
Not a rah-rah guy, but what do they say? Lead by example?
That's what he does.
Josh Burnham leads by example. So now West up against it. Down 3 scores. Oaks looking for a little room up the middle. Oaks gets it up to the 27-yard line. Let's go downstairs, check in one more time with Brooke Fletcher.
Now you guys were talking about Josh and what kind of guy he is off the field. I mean, not only is this guy quite the athlete, he also tutors, he volunteers. And I mean, I was hanging around this school and you've never heard one bad thing about him. You see on his social media, he's always lifting his players up, encouraging them, showing his support. And Coach says he's just the type of guy you want to root for, right?
Yeah, modest through the hallways.
Class act. Class act.
What the game's all about. You showcase some of the great young players that are out there. And obviously his athletic prowess being the second-ranked player in the state. But when you're a high-character individual, you want to talk about that too. Skirmerhorn. Navy back to the line of scrimmage.
How about what Coach Sugar said about him when he started talking about his impact that he's had on his community, the leadership skills, going down and rooting on the 8th grade football team, encouraging them, rooting them on, because one day they'll be wearing these colors and wearing them proud. He's involved in the community. I mean, this kid here does it all. Excited for this young man after his senior year to be playing at Notre Dame. Get a chance to watch it.
Konchik underneath. Gaston trying to get to the edge. Gaston wrapped up by Bordeaux. Picks up a couple of yards. That's going to bring up 3rd down. Gaston been the favorite target of Konchik here tonight. But they're going to need a quick strike here, down 3 touchdowns. Coach Vaughn looking on.
Well, if you're Traverse City West, this is when you find out about your character here. They've shown that they can come back before.
Sure.
And so there's no quit in this team, so they'll keep fighting until that clock says 0-0-0.
pressure up against Konchik, trying to get out of it, and he's going to be wrapped up for a loss of 2. So Central able to get pressure. Look at number 9 right there in the middle, Conrad Dobrev. That's going to bring up 4th and 6. Now you've got to put yourself in, the best position for your football team. They're going to move Kyle McCrum back to punt it. Again, standing at his own 19-yard line. So again, not ideal field position to try to go for it here on 4th down.
But West will fake punt. This might be an opportunity for them to do that and try to catch Traverse City off guard.
McCrum will boot it away. And again, nobody back for Central, and a nice roll for West. And they're going to down it at the 21-yard line. So a nice job flipping the field from Kyle McCrum. Talked about him a lot tonight. Talked about playing all 3 facets of the game. Doing it in a big way at 5'11", 225 pounds. Trojans in control. 6:58 remaining in the ballgame.
Welcome back. There's a lot of dual sport athletes on these teams, and one of them is Josh Burnham. No surprise there. He's actually quite the basketball player. This is actually security footage at Traverse City Central, and this kid has some hops. There he is with a dunk. Here he is in one of the basketball games. I mean, that's pretty incredible, but there's no dunk better than this, you guys. Is that a windmill dunk? Guys, he was a freshman when that video was taken. Are you kidding me?
In street clothes?
In street clothes.
Just showing everybody up. Not to mention, he also threw in, I also do track and baseball sometimes, but no surprise. I mean, this kid is a stud athlete. He's proven it here tonight.
Yeah, been fun to watch him. Been fun to watch him for sure. Old number 8. Be fun to watch him next season as well. A lot of these kids came out and played. You always want your best players to come out and shine bright on the biggest stage, and we've seen that all across the field on both sides here tonight. And obviously number 8 notwithstanding. So 1st and 10, ball to 22-yard line. They'll hand it off. Klug, a couple of yards up the middle to keep that clock rolling. Again, West utilized its timeouts a little bit earlier in the quarter, so they will be unable to stop the clock here in the 4th.
And Johnny, what I love about Josh Burnham is that he hasn't allowed the moment to be too big. He knows this is a rivalry game, but he's played within himself. He made plays for his team, but he also didn't try to do it all himself. He allowed the other guys around him, his other playmakers, to get involved, to make plays as well.
Josh Klug hobble off the field. They're going to give it to Bordeaux on the edge this time. Bordeaux up to the 36-yard line. Hopefully Klug's okay. He's been running hard here tonight. Bordeaux's been terrific here tonight. One thing we talked about it, and you hit on it, talking with Coach Sugar before the game about building culture. And there are different programs across the state. And most programs we deal with, they wrap their arms around these kids, not just about, hey, let's make sure we got the best football players in school, but it's about, you're trying to cultivate young men. And that is Bordeaux. Oh, Bordeaux with room. Bordeaux, foot race. Gaston in pursuit. Bordeaux into the end zone. Touchdown, Trojans.
Trojans starting to pour it on here in the 4th quarter.
Looked like all the movement was going to the left side. They came back. Bordeaux got separation, got to the 2nd level, and he put on the afterburners.
Looked like a little reverse to me, Johnny Kane. A little misdirection there. And with the speed
Everest Noyes.
Bordeaux. Ooh, off and running.
Everest, the governor. He splits the uprights. It's 42-14. Let's take one more look at this play. We're just talking about building culture. How about this?
Yeah, a little trickery there, a little misdirection. Look at number 6 on the outside. They're opening up the lane.
And Van Ness.
Van Ness opened up the lane, and Bordeaux does the rest. I mean, the deception was so good, it tricked our camera.
I was a bit fooled as well. Again, you have so many playmakers, you know, that's what you're able to do. I mean, you know, you talked about it earlier. It wasn't, you know, Burnham didn't try to do everything himself. He tried to get it to some of the other playmakers, and as we've seen here tonight, Bordeaux, fabulous playmaker. But you and I were talking, I was just saying about, you know, the culture and how you put your arms around them, and you want to build these young men, and that's something the Sugars takes very seriously now in the 7th season leading this program. Boys are having some fun on the sideline right now, but you hit on it. They go back, root for the 8th grade team. They're good in the hallways. They talk about what we should and shouldn't post on social media, try to handle themselves the right way in the community.
I mean, that's what you want. And I was just talking to Coach Sugars today before the game, and I told him just straight up to him, I mean, just listening to him talk to us on the Zoom call and listening to what these players mean to him and what he means to the players. He's creating good guys that are going to be an impact, have an impact in the community, in jobs. I mean, they're just well-polished young men.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have been playing since their sophomore season, so a lot of varsity players, mature group of guys, you know, player-led. They want their football team to be player-led. The ball's going to go out of the back of the end zone. So Traverse City Central, they've got obviously a tough early part of the schedule, and they got some tests coming up here in the middle and later parts as well. We talked about the game against DeWitt in the battle at the Big House. They're not afraid to schedule tough opposition. You know, able to rattle off wins against Marquette and Gaylord. Then you got your rivalry game this week, and you move on down. Take a look at North Farmington there. You're not afraid to schedule some teams down south. There's a how would I say? There's a stigma that you're up north good. What does that mean? What does that look like? You always play with the chip on your shoulder. We're not just up north good. We're good. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen a lot of football teams play this year, and the way this Central team is playing, yeah, they're up north good, but they're all over Michigan good. This team can play here in Division II.
Yeah, I feel like this team could play with any team, anywhere. They're very disciplined. They have several big-time playmakers, and they have a heck of a leader in Josh Burnham.
Well, here's West fighting the clock, fighting the scoreboard. Again, last year the final was 53-13. That game played in week 1. Here we are in week 4. Konchik with pressure. Konchik going to be taken down. In on the stop, Parker Schmidt and Conrad Dobrik. That's going to be a sack on the play.
Now the defense of Central is just swarming, applying pressure.
Dobrik's been in on a bunch of stops here tonight. They brought that pressure from the inside. Dobrik coming up from the linebacker spot.
Started to win the battle up front.
Looks like Burnham now out of the ball game. We see some fresh bodies in for Central. And there's Aiden Camp getting a couple of yards there up the middle for West. They're going to continue to fight. As you look at Burnham on the sideline. His night is finished.
What
and
a
now
night,
on
though.
4th and 7. Yeah, fabulous night. The front back out. To kick it away. And they do bring one player deep from Traverse City Central this time. McCrum boots it, almost blocked. And Central, look out for Bordeaux. Bordeaux, flag comes in. But a nice return from Carson Bordeaux. This kid's got some speed. A lot of athleticism out on the edge, but I do believe that's in the neighborhood of a block in the back.
During the return, holding, return team, number 14, 10 yards from the spot of the fall, first down.
It's going to be a holding call instead. That's going to go against Braxton Hill, the young man they call B. Hill. We'll talk about Carson Bordeaux one more time, number 11. In the white jerseys, I'll tell you, instrumental in what they try to do. He's a guy they want to get the ball to. And what did Coach Sugar say about him? Yeah, man, he's got charisma. Always smiling, flying all over the place. They joke about putting one of those track monitors on him, see how much he actually runs. He was running everywhere in practice. He's been running all over the field tonight. This time, the TC West defense swarming. Not much room to roam. Case Adams, the senior running back, in for Central now, number 15. So it's cool for some of these guys that maybe don't get a ton of playing time. Get an opportunity toward the end of the game, get into a rivalry game like this. And for being a player who's in a lot of those situations, maybe I didn't play the bulk of most of the games, I valued the few minutes that I got an opportunity in the end of the game, especially against a rival.
Well, and they're also gaining experience. These are some of the guys that's going to impact your team throughout for the rest of the season. And you want those guys to be confident and comfortable when they're out there.
This time shaking a tackle. Number 16, Michael Boer. Boer up near the 40-yard line. Going to mark him down at the 42.
Then you just think about the athleticism that Central has. I mean, Michael Boer is the nose tackle on defense. And now he's running, he's carrying the football, picking up huge yards and getting the first down.
What they do, they make you think about everything and defend everything. You hear the chant coming in, I believe. In the student section for TC Central, they believe. Coaching 2 minutes to play in the ball game. In the Patriot game. Ball on the loose. Picked up. Burnham somehow came away with it. Ball popped free. And two West defenders looked like they jumped on top of it. Ball squirted free. Burnham says, yep.
That's that. I'll take that ball.
Let's take a look at it one more time here. Look at this.
Nice little reflexes here, though, by Burnham. Up.
I'll take that. And now we have a stoppage of play. Let's see here. So Burnham comes out. Now his day is officially done. And now, this is what we call the victory formation. In for Traverse City Central.
It's also what we call winning with class. Kneeling down there, not trying to, it seems like right now anything they do on offense, they seem to be able to score. But they're going to do this with class. And what a class act by this Traverse City Central team. Led by Eric Sugars. Yeah, great job. Great football game. Great game plan. Well executed by Central.
And Joseph Meyer, the junior, takes a knee one more time. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the final play of the TC Patriot game. And guess who? Traverse City Central. The student section will let you know all about it. They come in here with a 2-1 record, able to move to 3-1. The only blemish coming against DeWitt in week 1. They come in here, handle business through the first couple of punches in this game. Nice moment there from Burnham and his head coach, Eric Sugar. And they win this one handily, 42-14. Impressive display from what we saw. But we're going to stay with it for the trophy presentation, as Brooke talked about earlier. Something that means something to these young men. But look at the sportsmanship right here. Well, that's what it's about. Crosstown rival. You want to go out there, you want to try to kick each other's tail, but once it's done and the final whistle blows, we're still brothers.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for both of these two programs. This crosstown rivalry, 6 miles separates the two schools. Central winning this game with class.
Yeah,
Just love the fight that West showed, but unfortunately, Central was a little bit too much.
Yeah, East versus West. This is it. And what a great opportunity for you, man. First time to come up to Traverse City, and people say, hey, what did you like most about Traverse City? I like their football program.
I definitely.
Wait a minute, what about the beach?
I ain't going to get a chance to get to the beach this year, but, man, the sights is beautiful up here.
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything up here.
They really do. The people have welcomed me to with open arms, signed some autographs. Johnny Kane took some pictures. Always feels good, man, when I'm amongst Tiger fans and getting a chance to call a high school rivalry football game. It's a special moment for me as well.
Well, of course, both these schools, it was announced earlier this week, they'll be switching from the Big North Conference to the Saginaw Valley League. You know, both these larger programs, TC West, actually the biggest school north of Grand Rapids, so give both of these schools an opportunity to play some larger schools in a new mega conference moving forward. But Traverse City Central, they were picked to win the Big North Conference. And right now, so far, so good. Had a heck of a season a year ago. That much we know. Well, let's recap it one more time for you. In case you tuned in late, showed a lot of love to number 8 in the black, gold, and white, and there's a reason why.
Well, John, he can just do a little bit of, he can do a lot of all of it. He can throw it, and he's very underrated as a thrower, but we know he can throw the football, but man, can he run that, can he run the football? I mean, he overpowered Traverse City West. I mean, just strong young man there.
40-yard touchdown run, then had a 5-yard touchdown run there. You know, on a bunch of plays on the defensive side as well. And here comes that trophy presentation. The Nowak Olson Trophy. And it will remain with the Trojans.
Congratulations to head coach winners and Traverse City Central football team.
Again, this Traverse City Central team, this is a team that has aspirations, legit aspirations of competing for a state championship. In games like this, you continue to put it together, finish what they started. Again, they threw the first couple of big punches and able to finish it off in the fourth quarter. You put yourself a little bit of hardware in the trophy case at school. You know, they got this thing going on. The coaching staff, you know, they've added elite non-conference competition to their schedule. We talked about it to start the year and then to close the year against North Farmington. You know, they want to make a push. So, you know, they've looked good here the last 3 weeks. A lot of teams will tell you, a lot of coaches will tell you, you know, hey, 1 week doesn't define us. We talk a lot, we watch a lot of college football, of course. And you say, hey, 1 week, that might kill our chances of making the playoff or whatever have you. You know, in high school football, it ain't that way. And so you go on, you see a measuring stick early on against DeWitt, you get popped pretty good. Guess what? DeWitt's pretty good.
Yeah.
You say, okay, where do we make the adjustments? In high school football, I'm going to tell you right now, the adjustments you make from week 1 to week 2, that's it, man. That's like, it is night and day.
Well, I just like the fact that they're playing some more competitive games in those non-conference games because it prepares you for the big challenge. You feel like you've gone up against the best, and you feel like you've played with them. You've made the necessary adjustments, which allows you to be the best.
There you go, getting a little coaching up after the game. One of the assistants there for Traverse City Central. We're hoping to be joined by Coach Sugars here momentarily. He'll be joining Brooke Fletcher. And how about that? Brooke Fletcher right on cue. Brooke, take it away.
celebrating with your team. We'll let you get back to them in just a second, but a lot of anticipation surrounding this game, one of the biggest games of the year for you guys. How are you and your team able to pull this one out tonight?
It's the kids. I'm so proud of these guys. Senior-led team, and we felt all along if we just got it going, we had the team to do this. This team has grown leaps and bounds, and I'm just so excited for the kids and be a part of this. This is all about them. This is about this experience, about our veterans. What an awesome night for high school football, and I'm just so proud of our guys and our coaches, so thank you.
Your playmakers really stepped up tonight, but Josh Burnham, we talked about him throughout the week and what kind of player he is, but also as a leader. What does his presence mean to this team?
I love that kid, and I don't say that. He's such a humble young man, but what an outstanding player, an outstanding teammate, and like I said, you don't have to be too smart to just give the kid the ball, and he'll make plays for you, and we got a lot of guys around him, so I'm excited to get to next week now. We're going to enjoy this one, but, man, I'm excited to get back together with my team.
This game, it's a rivalry game, but it's also about honoring those who have served and the veterans. So you have veterans in your family. This hits close to home. So what does a win like this mean to you?
That's neat. I want our kids to think more than football. We get opportunities to play this game because of the sacrifices made by so many. And so that's the moment when those kids get to think about that throughout the week, and then they get to see those guys on the field and just salute them and then go play a high school football game in front of them. What a great moment. So.
All right, well, congratulations. We'll let you get back to your team, but thank you so much, Coach. Johnny, I'll send it back to you.
All right, good stuff. Good transparency from Coach. I'm telling you right now, they did a lot of good things tonight. Traverse City Central, they want to get back to the state championship game for the first time since 1988. I'm telling you, from what we saw tonight, they got some playmakers. They might be able to do it. It's going to do it for our coverage from Thirlby Field. Final score 42-14. It's the Trojans. Join us next week. Football Friday is taking us to DeWitt. Grand Ledge coming to town. 7 o'clock kick. For Brooke Fletcher, Craig Monroe, I'm Johnny Kane. We say so long from up north. Have a great weekend, everybody.